For this problem, we're going to follow the grouping method, which you can see right here. And this is a method of turning a polynomial, instead of standard form, like you see here, into that parentheses factored form that we use all the time. So the first thing I need to do is put this in standard form. Now, maybe you remember what standard form means, maybe you don't, but it's a pretty easy one if you can remember. Exponents go high on the left, low on the right. So all I'm going to do is just rewrite my polynomial here, and I'm going to take everything that has a high exponent, like that x cubed, and stick that on the left. And then I'm going to sort of march down in the exponents. So the next one is plus 40x squared, and the next one is minus 6x, and the final one is minus 10, which didn't even have an x at all. So that's the lowest exponent. So that's what I'm going to start with. And then I'm going to factor out a GCF from each pair of terms. Now, if you remember how the factor by grouping method goes, the reason we talk about pairs of terms is because if I have 24 and 40 and 6 and minus 10, sometimes there's a GCF that works for all of them, sometimes not. But let's pretend you didn't realize the GCF was 2. It is, but let's pretend you didn't see it, okay? For whatever reason you were in a hurry, and you just want to go with the factor by grouping method. So we sort of split this down the middle, and each side we treat as a pair, and we factor out whatever GCF we can find. Now on this left side, the best I can do is 4. The number 4 goes into both of those. I think that's as high as I can go. Oh, no, I can go higher. I can go to 8. Look at that. 8, okay? And there's an x squared, if you remember how this worked in class. And what's left is simply the 24x cubed divided by 8x squared and the 40x squared divided by 8x squared. So 24 divided by 8 is 3. X cubed over x squared is x. And now with the next term, it stays plus. 40 divided by 8 is 5. And x squared divided by x just goes away, so that disappears. Now on this next one, I see a negative sign in front of that x. Look right here. See that negative? I know that I typically want to get rid of that negative, so I'm going to factor out the negative. And I think I can do better than negative 1. I'm going to pick negative 2 as my GCF. And what that leaves me is 3x, and negative 10 divided by negative 2, that's plus 5. Now this is an important point right here. See how these are the same? If those match each other, that's a very good sign. If they don't match each other, you probably ought to check your algebra there. Something went wrong. Okay. So now, what do we put in this box right here? In this answer box, what it's looking for is for you to say, simply, hold on, say it like this. You say 8x squared times 3x plus 5, and that's one of your pairs. And the next pair is this one, minus 2 times 3x plus 5. Okay, that's your answer to that box. And now to write it as 2 multiplied factors in this form, see with the 2 parentheses there, you have to remember this trick for factor by grouping, where whatever the common, oops, I don't want that, hold on a second. Whatever the common factor was, this 3x plus 5 right there, that gets its own parentheses. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like. That looks like a parentheses down here, just like 3x plus 5. Okay, and whatever the coefficients were, that's this minus 2 and the 8x squared, those also get their own parentheses. So there's an 8x squared minus 2. Now that's my factored form. Whoops. Except that thing, bear with me here, that belongs down here. Okay, grabbed almost the entire thing. So now we're almost all the way through the problem. The only issue left is that this is not actually fully factored, right? It wants it all the way factored. So there's one thing you might have noticed. I could have pulled out a GCF from this factor on the left, right? There's one GCF left, which is the number 2 goes into both 8 and 2. So that's going to turn this into 4x squared minus 1. And I still have 3x plus 5 because that has no GCFs of its own. So this is the full grouping method. And this is about as hard as grouping is going to get when you have one variable. If your problem looks a little simpler than this one, great. Do the same steps that I did. It should turn out well for you at the end.